my Kindle Oasis for over a year, and I was reading on the Kindle Paperwhite before that, and I finally feel like I'm ready to give a full in-depth review on both devices and share who I truly think these devices are for. Don't you wanna have fun, fool around someone? Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tamika, and just for some context, because I know that these kinds of videos kind of see people outside of my normal audience, I am a reader. As you can tell from the shelves behind me, I am an avid reader. I read a lot, and just for some context, I do read anywhere from 150 to 200 books a year. I do read a lot. On average, each month I am reading nearly 20 books. It's somewhere between 10 to 20, but in a normal month it is about 15. So I read a lot. I also want to just put that context out there of I only read digitally. So everything that I read, I either read through Kindle, I read through my iPad, or I am reading through audiobooks. So I do not read physical books, even though there are books behind me. The only exception to that is my manga, which I do read physically, but more often than not, I am actually reading digitally. So as a digital reader, I really wanted to test the different types of Kindles that are out there. I specifically just really wanted an Oasis for a really long time. I really struggled because I had heard not great things about the battery life on the Oasis, and I heard that I should just stick to my Kindle that I already had. Of course I didn't listen to that advice. So let me tell you about the two Kindles that I have. So I do have these two Kindles, but before these two, I did have a Kindle Paperwhite, just the regular waterproof Kindle Paperwhite that was like the teal color. After purchasing the Oasis and the Signature, I did end up selling that one. So I've already traded that one off and sold it because I do have these two now. This is my Kindle Paperwhite Signature. This one is the one that is roughly the same size as the Oasis, and my Oasis is dead right now, so that's what you're going to be looking at. They're roughly the same size in regards to these screens. One of the major differences between the Oasis and the Signature is the Signature does not have buttons, and there is not a warm light setting on this one, and it does not auto rotate. This Kindle auto rotates. It has a warm light setting, and it also has the buttons, so as you are reading, you can flip it and the page will auto rotate and flip the other way. So listen, I've been using these for a while and I have thoughts on a lot of things. I also have solutions for people who are interested in the Oasis, interested in the Paperwhite, and just kind of want to know what they should do. So here's my experience. I bought the Kindle Signature because this has the wireless charging, and also because I do read a lot. And I wanted both options. I kind of wanted to see which one I preferred and which one I liked better. I wanted the bigger screen on my Paperwhite. I also really wanted wireless charging. So this one does do wireless charging, and it also has a USB-C instead of the standard little port that this one has. This is the old one, the old port to charge it. I did buy this Kindle secondhand from someone. I think I paid like $170 for it, including tax and shipping. So I did get this heavily discounted, and I just wanted to try it out. I wanted to see if I liked it and how I felt about it. And I'm gonna be honest, for the longest time, this was my preferred method of reading. I love these buttons. I love that I can click the buttons and it will go back one page or go forward. I really like that feature on this one. I really like that you can be laying in bed and read, because that is the main place that I am reading, and I can literally flip over. So if I'm on one side, I can be reading like this, and if I decide to, I can flip it and my buttons are over here and I can read on this side. So that is why I ended up really loving this Oasis. It was my preferred Kindle for a long time, and I felt like I was barely using my Kindle Paperwhite. So my Kindle Paperwhite is just the standard one. Like, this is the Signature one, yes, but it is the standard kind of, nothing really special about it, other than, you know, some of those upgraded features that came with the 11th generation. That came with the 11th generation of Kindle. I was not gravitating towards this a ton because, you know, I just still had to tap my finger on it, and I really wanted the buttons feature. As someone who likes to move around in bed a lot, the buttons were kind of like my selling feature. So what I would end up doing was anytime I would eat, anytime I was going anywhere, this is what was going with me. I was taking this in the bed, but I was charging this every, I want to say at least once a week. I was charging it at minimum once a week, and if not 2 times a week. It just depended on how much I was reading, but it was a sacrifice I was willing to make because of the buttons. I'm not gonna say I had the worst battery life, because I was getting more than likely a full week out of this with the amount that I read. The thing I'll say about the Paperwhite Signature and any Paperwhite is the battery life on these things are amazing. Like, they literally do not die. Like, the Oasis will die much faster than the Paperwhite. This thing just does not want to die. It's like one of those, what is it, Nokia phones that like came out. This thing just does not want to die. It takes forever to actually run through the battery, which is something I really do love about this device, and I wish was also in this device, because if it was, this would be the perfect end all be all. This device right here, it is so easy to take it with you because it looks like it does not die. You probably noticed I said that this is what I was using for the majority of the time, and then I ended up switching to this one, and I will tell you exactly why. I wanted the buttons feature on this Kindle, and I found a solution for that. I did get a reading pillow, and I also got this device right here. This is the page turner, which I do have linked down in the description. It essentially makes your Kindle Paperwhite an Oasis. So I put mine right here at the bottom, and I will demonstrate it for you. You literally hook it on here, and it hooks on like that. I do have my margins bigger, and you hit the button on the back and it will flash green when you turn it on. And then what you'll do is you take this little remote and you turn the page. That's your buttons. When I decided to go on vacation over the weekend, I took my Oasis with me because I didn't want to take, you know, the reading pillow, the Kindle, the charger, the remote, the whole 9 yards, right? I decided I wasn't taking the entire thing. I was just going to take my Oasis with me. And here's what I will say after going from primarily using this to read to using this. I'm not saying that I wouldn't recommend you buy a Kindle Oasis. That is not what I'm saying at all. But if all you want are buttons, just get a Kindle Paperwhite and get the page turner. I'm going to tell you a little bit about where I'm at and how I use these devices, and I'll explain who I think should get what. I do not regret having both devices. I got this one for a very good deal, and honestly, it was worth it to have. It's worth it for me to have now because it's still something that I actively use. It's just dead right now because I was literally using it last night. This is something that I keep around my house. Or I'll throw it in my bag. So this is something that I'm gonna use. I'm gonna put it in my work bag, and I'm going to be taking this with me to read on my lunch because I find it easier to eat with this one for some reason. So if I'm wanting to read while I'm on my lunch, I'm right-handed. I'm not just clicking the button right here and not using my left hand. I am using, you know, my left hand. I will have my Kindle all situated. I'll be right here. I will be clicking through, and I can eat with my right hand. So this is perfect for me for just very specific things. Like if I am going to be, you know, busy doing something, but I want to still be reading, that's when I'm going to pull this. I'm going to pull this when I'm doing things around the house that I can read while I'm doing it, like cooking dinner, like, you know, simple things like that. If I'm outside walking my dogs, like I have a yard, so like walking my dogs is literally taking them outside, I can use this device. It's not a big deal. So this device is really good for me for that reason. You know, this one's also really good for when I'm reading in bed and I don't have access to my page turner and my little stand-up like reading pillow. Yeah, this is great. I put this on there and it is essentially my reading pillow. That's what I use primarily when I'm at my house because that's what I'm using 99% of the time when it comes to reading in bed, is keeping this right beside my bed with my page turner, with my pillow. It's essentially a Kindle Oasis. But here's the thing, and here's why I am very adamant of I love both devices. I will not be getting rid of either device, and I do not regret getting either device. Both of these serve very different purposes for me, and I feel like the types of people who just specifically really want those buttons. Like, they are diehard, I need the buttons, and like that is your only driving factor to get your Oasis. Do not buy it off of Amazon. If you're going to get one and you really want the buttons, buy it used. Find it used somewhere and just go with it that way. If you are just kind of like, you want to spend the extra money because you want just as good of a Kindle, just get the Paperwhite. Like, just get your Paperwhite. I feel like it is just as good of an option. It's much cheaper. And if you don't have the same situation as me where you really struggle to like multitask, specifically if you are doing something with your dominant hand and you can't really use your other hand to do the other tasks, so say you need reading to be your secondary task and you need those buttons for that reason, get your Oasis. I understand it's a valid reason to, you know, get the Oasis and have the buttons. If you just want the buttons because you just think the buttons are cool, just get this and get the page turner. Seriously, I love my page turner. It is one of my favorite things that I've ever purchased. It makes this essentially an Oasis, but with a better battery life. If you're a casual reader, you don't read a lot, you read maybe a couple books a month, and you are willing to spend that extra money, you have the disposable income, and you don't mind having to charge your Kindle more than, say, the average person, or you really want the buttons, get the Kindle Oasis. This one is going to be good for you if you don't read a lot. I'm just going to be honest with you. If you don't read a ton, you're not someone who is marathoning through books, or you're someone like me who reads in shorter spurts. I do find that even though I read a lot, I am not someone who can read in very long chunks. If you're someone who reads in short bursts, but also someone who doesn't mind having to charge it, you want to have both hands for the option of being able to read and turn your pages, and you also want to be able to go back pages, get the Oasis. This is going to be the device for you. However, if you are someone who reads a lot, like I mean anything more than 5 or 6 titles a month on your digital device, you are a digital reader, this is going to be your device. It doesn't matter necessarily if you get the signature, because the only difference between the signature and the Kindle that came out, that's the regular version of this 11th generation, is this one has wireless charging. Do I think that that one feature alone is good enough to go ahead and upgrade to the signature? Not really, but I love the wireless charging and I really love having no ads. So yeah, you know, give or take, you kind of have to take the wins with the losses there. That's who I think this device is really good for. And if you really want the buttons, you really want to, you know, just not have to tap your pages constantly, just get the page turner. I think that it is a very good alternative if you are not willing to spend the money on an Oasis. It's a great alternative, and I feel like it would really work for a lot of people. Are you planning on getting a Kindle? Let me know down in the comments. And if you are still here, go ahead and leave me a dragon emoji, because you know, you've seen my book this entire time and we got a dragon on the cover. So if you want to get your hands on either one of these devices or the page turner, I will have that all linked down in the description for your convenience, and I will chat with y'all in my next one. Bye everyone.
Don't you wanna have fun? Don't you wanna have some fun? Yeah, these babies said that they don't got a future like